following message is a public service announcement brought to you by your friends at Degeneration X.
Hey YouTubers, Degeneration HanX here, and it's now time for another rant. And I think I'm going to really piss off some people with this particular one because it's a pretty touchy subject, but I feel I got to unload on this thing because it's, in my opinion, getting kind of ridiculous. And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yeah, I know, it's October, and instead of being more focused on fun things like Halloween and looking forward to the holidays, it seems like the media and the feminazis out there want you to focus on breast cancer. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't think about breast cancer. I mean, I'm in the opinion that we should think about all the cancers out there. And sheesh, there's a lot of cancers out there, and even ones we can't easily detect, like breast cancer or testicular cancer. I mean, for Pete's sake, we just should just have Cancer Awareness Month if we're going to do anything about it. I mean, for Pete's sake, I even recently heard something about, like, there's such thing as bladder cancer. And it seems like the media and all just wants you to think about breast cancer all the time. And they're not even, and it's kind of sexist in a way. It's not just because, well, of course, obviously they're focusing on the women point of view of it, and I very rarely hear about that it does affect men. Men do get breast cancer. I mean, it's kind of like what happened back in the late 80s and then early 90s when everybody was into AIDS awareness. Everybody was kind of saying, heterosexuals can get it too, even though you rarely heard about any heterosexuals getting the disease. Not saying that they didn't, but you rarely heard about it. Most of the time, I think the closest was that, the young boy who had AIDS because he had a blood transfusion. Not he got it sexually either way, he just got it through a blood transfusion. But you don't hear you don't hear the news or the media focusing on it, even though they are now, of course, going on this campaign about having men being concerned about it. I mean, the leader of all of this is John Cena. I mean, you see him every October for the last couple of years dressed up in pink, and making him look like a muscle-bound Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents. And of course, now it seems like all the guys on the WWE is getting into the act there wearing pink. And I think there's more masculine ways to do it. And the first thing is, why is it pink? I mean, if breast cancer does affect both sexes, why is the color pink involved? I mean, that's kind of sexist in its way because everybody knows that pink is the universal color of women and females. And if breast cancer does affect both sexes, if both sexes can have breast cancer, then pink shouldn't be in the equation. It should have like a sexual neutral color to represent it. Or at least let's focus on all the cancers in the month of October. This makes you think that that's maybe John Cena's Halloween costume every year, dressing up like Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents. And it's not saying I'm questioning this guy's sexuality. I mean, he is dating one of the Bella twins in real life, so his masculinity is in question here if he's going to walk around wearing pink. I mean, there's other things that men can do to bring awareness. Like, for example, on one of our local stations in my area of Indiana, in the morning news crews, some of the men have decided to grow beards for October, which it's a masculine thing to do. Also, there's another thing men can do, even though I do see mostly women wearing these shirts or go around with these slogans, save the boobies. I mean, that's a perfect thing for guys to get into, save the boobies. And it's even go cuter than that for Halloween. You got little bees with ghost costumes on. boobies. Get it? Um, I'm not against stopping curing breast cancer. I'm just in the frame of mind that we should focus on all the cancers. And I think we should be aware of all the cancers that are out there, not just breast cancer. Why is breast cancer getting all the publicity? It's not a female-only disease. I mean, if you want to have a female-only disease to be focused on, why is it ovarian cancer? Now, men don't have ovaries, so they can't get it. So, it's just like testicular cancer. Women can't get it, But I think, it is kind of sexist that they keep focusing on the women side of things and not focusing on that everybody gets it. Everybody can get it. Of course, men don't have quote-unquote breasts unless they're fat. They don't have mammary glands or anything, as far as I know. Of course, now another thing that is coming up. Now, of course, the misconceptions out there. Now, of course, up until a few years ago, I always thought that breast cancer only affected women over 40 and women who had silicone breast implants. That came up in the 1990s, that women who had silicone breast implants ran the risk of having breast cancer if the implants leaked. That's why nowadays the breast implants have saline. So, that was the thing. Nowadays, there is more information, but it's not publicized out there. I mean, the same local station that I just mentioned with the men growing beards for Breast Cancer Awareness Month also mentioned that younger women younger than 40 can get breast cancer. And that's not being focused enough. It's always women over 40 getting the disease, and it's women. It's they never we rarely hear about it. I like to hear about some cases with men doing it, fighting the disease and everything, and getting the thing. It's sexist. It's just one big trying to appeal to of course a very vocal group, the feminists, the feminazis out there, that me personally, I have not been personally affected by breast cancer. None of the women I knew in my life, or anybody in my life, for that matter. My mom never had it. My sisters never had it, as far as I know. My sister-in-law doesn't have it, and all that. Not even the men that I, in my family. The closest I've had is that one of my female friends here on the internet, his grandmother had passed away through the disease. Now, of course, the obvious thing is, the key is awareness. But breast cancer is usually the easiest thing to detect, because all a woman usually has to do is feel herself up. I'm sorry I put it up to crude terms, but that's the case. When they take a shower or whatever, they, have you seen the comic book world even has a picture of breast shots of female superheroes, female comic book characters like She-Hulk and Wonder Woman and Catwoman and all, filling themselves up, looking for lumps. That's usually the best way of checking it. And of course, there's also mammograms, which do, what I've heard is pretty brutal. And if you feel a lump, go to your doctor. That's a good enough reason to go to your doctor. It's there. Same thing with men when it comes to, men should do that too, not just in their chest, but also in their junk, to see if they have testicular, have a lump in their testicles, that kind of thing. Those are the easiest. Breast cancer and testicular cancer are the easiest ones to detect, because you yourself can, give yourself your own test. And of course, if you really want to make sure, then you go for, to a doctor or something like that, or anything like that, to have a more thorough examination out there. But I think personally that when it comes to the awareness part, I think we should be aware of all the cancers, to every single cancer that exists, that science medicine knows of, should be made aware to everybody, and not just the ones that affect one group of people. Because cancers can affect everybody. I think we should just, if we want to have a awareness month for cancer, let's have it for all cancers, and stop with this pink shit, this pink ribbons and all, because in my personal opinion, when it comes to these ribbons and stuff, even though I do, kind of, support some things that do have ribbons, as George Carlin once said, ribbons are symbols, and we leave symbols to the symbol-minded. It's just a goofy symbol that's sort of a throwback to the 90s when everybody was wearing ribbons and pins and stuff like that for every, activist thing that went on in the 90s. And this is, one of the few that survived to this day. And, of course, I've known about breast cancer even when I was a little kid. I mean, the news and the media talked about it all the time. Even back, not all the time, but this is 30 years ago when I was still a kid, and you see news reports about it and everything, and so I mean, it's not like you need a whole month just to be aware of this thing that the media talks about almost on a day-to-day basis in one way or another. And not just the news, but, TV shows and stuff. And, of course, here's another thing that kind of blows my mind. Like 5-Hour Energy is out there. And this is the second time I know of, they've come out with a product to promote Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm thinking here, this is nice. I think if you drink this stuff, you're gonna have a little bit more to worry about than breast cancer. I think you're gonna have to worry about heart attacks and strokes drinking this shit all the time rather than just breast cancer. I think there's a little bit more to worry about drinking this stuff than that. But that's just my opinion. I don't believe in speed drinks, energy drinks or energy supplements out there. But that's a rant. That's a different rant altogether. I might do that someday. But this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month rant. So I just think that Breast Cancer Awareness Month should be changed to Cancer Awareness Month, so that all the cancers should be because there's not a lot of cancers are being noticed out there. I mean, I never heard of bladder cancer. And it exists. I'm going, wow. Here's the press and the media and everything focusing on a cancer just because a very vocal group that likes to complain about things demanded this to be the case. I think it's very politicized and sexist about how they're doing things, and I think it should be changed so that, just get rid of the pink ribbons, and, if you want to promote awareness for this, I think it should be a gender-neutral thing because it does affect both genders and all. And I'm sorry I got to keep repeating this, but that's just my opinion, and, either, change it so everybody will feel comfortable supporting it, or focus on all the cancers. That's what I'm going to say. And this is Degeneration HanX. This is my rant involving Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And stay tuned here for more not exactly reviews, but rants and commentaries and whatnot here on the Weirdo Network. See ya.
Well, I guess if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you! Suck it!
I am an idiot.